Good morning.
Good morning.
So today we're presenting our live environment as well as us, and we're going to have a chance to see our dogs.
Not our dogs, but
The dog,
our dog
dogs.
relatives.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, today is December 28th, 2025, and it will be our last talk to conclude our time here with the Centers for Spiritual Living of the Palm Beaches. And so our title today is Release, Refresh, and Renew, because we're getting ready for a new year.
When did that happen?
And we always try to refresh, release, and renew. And it's a challenge to do, because everything that we've learned, we try to implement, and we've learned uh, how to protect ourselves, how to not make mistakes, how to not get hurt again. And those things can interfere with our releasing and letting go, but are essential.
Back in the old days, many, many years ago on the stereo, you would have a little switch that was a filter, and it said for your records, the scratch records, and it said scratch filter. So you turn the filter on, and the scratches went away. And so did all of the high frequency sounds of the music. And the problem with the filters that we often have is that they eliminate some of what we want to eliminate, but they also eliminate a lot more than that. And so when I was thinking in terms of how we become capable of defending ourselves against potential dangers and all of that, we have so many different ways of seeing the world so that we're safe that we don't necessarily see the world. We mostly see how we're safe. And I think that's what you're talking about is the importance of turning off the filters and saying, I am safe where I am.
Mhm.
I can do this. This is okay. Because I think sometimes what we do is we enter into the world from a place of fear without even realizing it. And so what we see are things to be fearful of.
Right. So it's hard to unlearn what you have learned.
Yeah.
But I have found that the science of mind teaching has helped me do that. There were things that I feared that I let go of because I realized that, fearing things would just attract those things to me. And so we can change
Yeah.
when we have a good reason to do so.
We do. We
And
do.
and it's really valuable. I want to share with you a funny story. This is a uh, a Peanuts, one of the Peanuts stories, the cartoon, but it really perfectly describes what we're talking about. So the Peanuts cartoon shows Charlie Brown as the manager of a baseball team. He's standing up on the mound, and Lucy approaches him. He looks quizzically at her, like, what are you doing here? And she said, I'm sorry I missed that easy fly. I thought I had it, but suddenly I remembered all the other times I had missed. In the last frame, walking off the mound, she said, the past just got in my eyes. And I
That's a,
love that because
that's a
that's,
that's a great sentence. It really is. And the past does. We're often not looking at our future. We're looking through our past
yeah.
at what we call the present. But if we think about it, we're actually looking at the past and wondering, does it relate to this right now? So a big mission this whole year is to keep letting go of what is in the past. When we say be present, we don't mean uh, what we mean is to be present without all that past.
Right.
To imagine yourself having amnesia. Now, how would you approach the world? How would you approach each other? How would you approach things? We often approach people with an already existing opinion or bias, and we listen through that opinion and through that bias. And I find that especially true politically right now. When people that I don't approve of say anything, I'm not listening.
Quit listening.
Yeah, and
They
I
just
think
quit
I
listening.
need to at least listen to find out it's possible that some of the people that I don't approve of has something to say that could be of value. But when I erase that, what even when they're talking, I'm listening through, no, you're not. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. And so we really have to work on that.
And when it comes to the new year, most of us think about, what do I want to do differently? Or what do I want to do that's new? What do I want to try that I've never done before? And so often that inner critic can just show up and say, oh, you're not good at that. You've never done that. That's not likely that you'll be successful at that. You know, all those negativity things that will stop you right in your tracks from even trying anything new. So I like this idea of releasing the past and refreshing your mind for possibility thinking and then renew.
And you can, if that dialogue is going on in the background and you're aware of it, you can have a conversation with it, but don't have it out loud because people will think that you're ready for a psychiatric unit like I work in, and that's not good. But when that voice in your head says, yeah, right, you're not going to be able to do that. Who do you think you are? Which are the common things we think. And you can say back to that voice, who I think I am is the best that I can be. And what I think I can do is whatever I choose to do. And you're right. I may fail again and again and again. And you know what failure really is? It is the edge of learning, and it's the edge of an opportunity. It is a place for discovery. I can hardly wait to see how this turns out. And so as you enter into that conversation, you can change the conversation not by saying you're wrong, but by saying you could be right. You know what? You've been right in the past, but you're not the only voice in my head. Hopefully you don't have many of them. But and what else you can say too, which I like to do because I like to economize with the words in my head is, you're probably right, and how it's going to work is a mystery, and I'm going to allow it. And I love the idea.
Or I'll have fun trying.
Yeah, right. So
I'll have fun trying something new.
yeah, and it takes me back to something we've talked about before, which is, the Chinese broken bowl that you weld together with gold. And my Japanese, okay. Probably offended somebody. Let's just quit now while we're ahead. No, no. You weld it together with gold, and of course the message of that is that there's great strength and there's even
And it becomes beautiful.
It's beautiful, and there's even more strength in it. But my take on that is that life is not about the numbers of times that it's broken. Life is about how you deal with the breaks, how you treat each break in your life. When things break down, the real message is, how are you going to handle this? And in actuality, we gain our greatest strength by overcoming obstacles. We gain our strength by learning things we didn't know. And think back to a time when it was something that you didn't know that you began to learn, and how you protested and thought, this can't happen. I can't do this. This is hard. And then as soon as you got it, you said, oh my God, this is wonderful. And so victory follows often the impression of defeat.
And so what do we want to let go of?
Yeah, well, I'd like to get my memory back. I'd like to.
What do we want to release? Well, we don't want to release our memories, but there are some things we need to let go of. And this is an Ernest Holmes quote from a book called Living the Science of Mind. He says, it is the great negations of life that we have to surrender. The doubts, the fears, the uncertainties, just as Bob has been talking about, the coldness and unkindness, the lack of love. So those are the things that we want to let go of. We've said it so many times, but it's so true. Course in Miracles says that there are only two emotions, love and fear. So if you're not loving, if you're not content, happy, excited, you're fearing.
Right. And it's important to say that what fear is, behind fear is, I don't exist. I'm not enough. I will be annihilated. And when we react to that as if it's happening and it isn't happening, and other people think, what's going on here that you suddenly went into fear? Well, we are triggered by conditions and circumstances that make us think that our life or our well-being, our psychic well-being is in danger. We're not usually in physical danger. But what happens when that happens, and this is an important piece, is whenever we're in fear, we're in reaction. We're not able to make choices for action. So we need to step back and say, if I'm operating out of fear, I need to change that now. And I need to operate what would be the kindest, loving thing I could do right here and right now. And then we're at choice. And when we're at choice, the world is ours. We can do whatever we want. But when we're in reaction, it's either fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm.
And those are the three things that we do really well, very instantaneously, but we don't think about it.
Flight, fright, or freeze. And so you're basically effed.
Yeah. Whoa, we got to edit this out. Oh, that's right. This is our last one. Say whatever you want.
Flight, fright, or freeze.
Yeah. Yeah, fight, fight.
Oh, fight.
So, and a lot of us have had to deal with the big F. And it's not fun. It's not fun. You know, how many times have you said something that, or reacted to something and then later think, oh my God, why did I say that? Or why did I do that? And then had to go back later, which can take a real long time, unfortunately. When you say something one time that isn't nice, it can take you weeks, months, or years to recover. I remember when, and the best example of this is if you have kids and you said something to one of your kids sometime that was when you were angry or upset, and you've long since forgotten it, and they bring it back 40 years later. What you said to me when I was 6. How could you do that? You ruined my life. Not true.
Yeah, just try being a minister.
Yeah.
Then you're expected to
We
be
actually had,
holier
I want to
than
share this
now.
because this actually happened. We have the Red Inn Church, which is a pretty good sized church, and it was pretty full. It was a really great Sunday, and the woman came that had never been there before. And I was wearing my suit and tie, and it was one of my new ties, so I had to wear my suit. And she came up afterwards and she said, I stopped going to the last church, and this church is for me. This is the one. And what you said was, and she went on, and I thought, okay, that's wonderful. And then the next week, I did the same thing, and I wore a different tie, and it went really well. And then the third week, I wore a turtleneck, and she said, I'm not coming back. I said, why? She said, my minister in the last church stopped wearing a suit, and I would not have that. Okay, so you can't make everybody happy. You can't get it right all of the time for everyone else. And she was obviously really interesting watching what we were doing and listening to what we were doing through the filter of clothing, through how we impressed her with our look. So I went home right away and I dyed my hair.
Well, where it was recently used against me was, I've been on the board of our condo, the board members,
Right, which is a form of self-abuse. Right.
and we have rules in our condo, as you probably know.
A lot of
All
rules.
all group housing things have rules, and I needed a parking place for a little bit while I got groceries out, and so I parked in someone's spot that I thought was gone. And I took the groceries in and came back out, and a car was blocking my car. I mean, they had parked behind my car, so I could not remove it. And I go, well, this is interesting.
Even more interesting is that car had been parked in another space, and that person had to come out and move his car from where it was to block you.
Yes, yes, he came out
Yeah,
and blocked
yeah,
me.
yeah.
And so, and then he says, why did you park here? And I said, well, I needed to bring in groceries, and I thought this person wasn't here. And he said, I don't remember what he said, but he growled and frowned and he said, why didn't you park in this
In the no
space
parking
that
area.
says X, no parking, had a sign up, no parking here? And I said, well, because we were really fussed at when we were moving in for even being there. And he said, oh, everybody does it. I said, well, I didn't know that. Here I am, was vice
I mean, there
president of
are
the board.
rules, but
I didn't know that. And so anyway, then the owner of the spot drove up to me and said, I understand you're a minister. I said, that's right. I'm an ordained minister. And she says, well, don't ministers follow the rules? I felt like saying, which rules?
so
But
that
I just said, oh, I'm doing the best I can. But no, ministers don't always follow all the rules.
so how does that all tie into our talk today? What's true is both of those people were listening through rules that they have and the way things need to be, and when things aren't that way, they can't experience pleasure or joy. To get out of your condo, move your car to block a car so that that person can be confronted tells you a lot about,
With a great sin.
yeah, it tells you where they are. But all of us are there at some point in our lives. That was an obscene. I would have called the police and said, these people are mentally ill. You know, it's not an obvious illness. It's one that's really popular, but it's really one that's there. But think about your own life when you've been petty about something and gone after it and didn't mean to, but I mean, you think afterward, why did I do that? You
Oh,
know?
I was very proud of myself
Yeah.
afterwards that that's all I said. I was very proud. There were lots of other things I could have said and call them on their breaking of the rules because I know of them. But I just said I'm doing the best I can.
I thought about it and I thought,
And then we changed the sign.
yeah,
The sign that said no parking, we made a sign that said temporary parking for loading and unloading. I changed the sign so it's
right.
accurate.
That's right. So the rules will be followed.
But I'm delighted to be out of that role too. That's another new unroll for me this next year.
Yeah, ask yourself this. Ask yourself now how many rules that you're following that aren't your rules that actually don't even apply anymore. How many things that you're holding up as this has to be this way rather than does it really? And I can't think of her name, but she's a great medium, not a medium, but she wrote a great book about how to intervene in your own life. She was depressed for a long time and then she got over it. And when she got over it, one of the questions she would say, is it true? You remember who this is?
Oh, yeah.
And then but what I loved is she said, is that true? And you think about it, yeah, that's true. Is it really true?
Byron Katie.
Byron Katie, right? And you to go back, is it really true? You
Or
see,
have I made up a story about it?
yeah, and we have a story about our truth that is sometimes just a story, and it's not necessarily true.
Am I absolutely positive it's true?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then what if the reverse were true? Turn it around. Sometimes that's just as true.
And then what I say when you say that to me is, stop bringing up the past.
Yeah, that's a profound,
It
profound
is.
technique.
And we can do that whenever we're in situations where we've decided somebody's definitely wrong. It gives us a chance to look at context. It gives us a chance to look at our own history and say, what have I done in situations like that? I watched somebody go through a red light the other day, and I thought, wow, lucky that he didn't have an accident because it had been red for more than a minute when he ran the light. And I immediately had a judgment. And then there was me thinking back of one time when one time it's only happened once in my life, that I ran a red light because I didn't see it. And so I thought, well, what if he didn't see it? And so that entered into the judgment part of it. And all I could say was, he ran a red light.
Mm.
And whenever we can say you did that rather than you did that and you're bad, or you're wrong, or why did you do that? Or you need to be punished for that. We have that wired in, and we grew up with a lot of that, unfortunately. And one of the things we grew up with, unfortunately, a lot of us did, maybe not you, but was banishment. When we did something that people didn't like or our family didn't like, go to your room. I don't want to be with you anymore. And the message is you are no longer somebody we want to be associated with. So the annihilation, the idea of I've been put away, I don't exist anymore. I'm not talking to you anymore. And that enters into the picture at a very early age. And I suspect that's one of the things we're reacting to whenever there's any rejection is it's more than a rejection. In many cases, it's a triggering of a long history of if you say something I don't like or do something I don't like, I don't want to be with you anymore.
I did that one time with my younger son because of my older son, and this son had never said such a thing to me, which was, I hate you. I hate you. And I said, okay, then go up to your room and hate me because I don't want to hear it. He never said that again.
Right.
Maybe the banishment
Yeah.
was
Well, I'm not suggesting that you
effective.
shouldn't banish. Sometimes banish is better than beating.
Yeah, I thought so.
My son said that
I
one
thought
time,
so.
and he said, "I hate you." And I said, "Well, Aaron, you can hate me, but you go to your room and hate me because I don't really want you to hate me out here. But I'll be going on a motorcycle ride in about an hour. I won't hate you by then." And he got over it even less than an hour. He was done in a half an hour with his helmet. And interesting how hate works.
Yeah. So we hope that you take this opportunity to really to joyously, release and allow the possibility of something new that will bring you joy. Because, we have enough challenges in life already. So seeking joy in a healthy way is a good thing to do.
Mhm.
We all
Well,
need joy.
I'm wondering about, I'm thinking that joy is the outcome. If you think about it, joy is what happens to us when we're doing something that works, when we're doing something that's right. And so I would say heading in a direction that you know will bring you joy is what's really important, but it's the direction you're going in. And joy is the symptom.
Is
It's a
it
wonderful symptom.
byproduct?
Yeah, of something that you did that how many times have you done something and felt joy, but you hadn't planned on having joy? It was like, this is the right thing to do. And so as we do more that is kind and loving and generous rather than fearful and angry and upset or worried, when we do things that are more generous and more outgoing and in our connection with the universe, joy simply bubbles up and finds itself in us. I know that when I greet the dogs with anticipation and they greet me with anticipation, there's great joy. I didn't greet them to get joy. It just
Right,
happens, and it's a
right.
wonderful happening. So ask yourself what you're doing today that'll make you smile. And if you don't know how to smile, you're not sure of it, then find some music that you like and listen to it. And if you can, sing to it. And if you're not having something positive going on in your head, you can't erase the negative, but you can put something else in its place. And you probably can't do two things at once, even if you think you're a multitasker. So you can hold on to a new idea. I am strong. I am healthy. My song is I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am wise. I am wise. Very, very healthy. Very, very wealthy and so wise.
Where did you learn that?
I don't know. Maybe it was science of mine. But when if things
Maybe it was your wife.
yeah, right. So when I sing that, even if it's not true, the melody feels like it is. It just feels like that's so. That is so much better. Life does suck. It does suck. It sucks all the time. It sucks all the time. Yeah. You've got to be willing to say something when something bad is being said in your head that isn't negative, as opposed to agreeing with it.
Okay, I think it is time.
10:54. And we're not going to ask you for a tithe, although if you want to send us a lot of money for our 9 or 10 day vacation or cruise, you're welcome to do that. Let's show us the dogs if we can.
Well, we'll do it when we get off.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They were hearing the dogs, yeah.
Yes, and they were seeing them play in the background
Oh,
too
that's
by the
true.
window.
Yeah,
So let's close with the treatment.
I like that.
Okay. So let's know right here, right now, that each of us is an individual with an immense spirit, an eternal spirit that is ever creating newness. And we choose to create newness and joy and creativity in this coming year.
And we find it so easy to let go of the past. We find that it simply slides away from us. It moves away from us like the wake when we're in a boat traveling. And as it moves behind us and disappears, we move forward and explore. And so we decide right here and right now that we are divine explorers of a universe waiting to embrace us, that we can embrace.
So we give great thanks for this opportunity to choose again, to choose a way of life that brings us great joy. We give thanks. We give thanks for this teaching. We give thanks for our friends. We give thanks for our family. And we release, and together we say,
And so it is.
so it is.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Let's